into an informational segment that has to do with when you go to interview for a job and what the HR representatives are looking for, and the do's and don'ts of resumes and do's and don'ts of interview tips. My man Eric Young will go ahead and introduce our guest today. So.
How about you all introduce yourselves?
Alrighty then.
Sure. Hi, I'm Samantha Young. I am Eric Young's wife, and
Show you right.
Nice. And I'll just put it out there. I'm an HR professional. I've been in HR since 2004. So certified in HR, master's degree in HR, and
Master's degree.
thank you. So there's a brief overview of me.
Kristen Cutri. I've been in HR for a few years now too. Also certified. Also have my master's in HR, and was lucky enough to work with Sam a few years ago.
Absolutely.
This is a big Hood Point shout out.
Show. So one of my first questions is because I think a lot of people now the jobs are starting to turn around a little bit. A lot of people are starting to try and apply for jobs now. What are some do's and don'ts now in interviewing? Like, what should you wear? What you should not wear? What are some of the things you should say? What you should not say on the interview?
You just asked a whole bunch of questions.
Okay, just go. Okay.
The fundamentals.
Yeah.
What's the fundamentals of what should they do coming in the door?
All right. First of all, you want to be early, but not too early. Don't show up for an interview a half an hour early, because all that does is make me feel rushed and feel like I have to stop what I'm doing to come and meet you. So like 10 minutes is perfect. Any more than 10 minutes, not so good. 10 minutes early for an interview.
Yep. Now, unless the employer gives you otherwise to say if you would arrive 15, 20 minutes early,
right,
so you can complete your paperwork, so you follow the direction of the employer. The other thing is not only showing up early, but also it's a very good idea to get the address and do a run-through before you actually need to go and interview, because one thing we do not want to hear, or is not a good excuse, I should say, is I didn't know where it was. I got lost. So typically it's not a good answer because I gave you the address in advance. So it's always a good idea to maybe do a run-through.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
So.
And it's Google Maps and whatnot.
There you go. There
There's
you go.
a lot of enough technology.
2013, there is no reason for you to get lost on the way to an interview.
Hey, now I'm taking a class right now. And there's some old ladies in there that I don't even know if they'll be able to even work a GPS right now, the way these ladies are with the computer class. We're gonna leave that alone though. One other thing I've noticed though is appearance. Is it starting to become more relaxed now with appearance on certain jobs? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of places. I see people with. I know when I was in high school and I took a business class, one of the things they taught us was about, if you got tattoos, they shouldn't be below your elbow where people can see them. But now I'm going places where people have tattoos all on their neck, the chest, their arms, their hands, their fingers, and they're working the public. So is that starting to become more not something of the old nowadays, or?
My thing would be it depends on the position. I can't speak for everybody, but in a more of a professional setting, you want to make sure that you do cover it up because you are in a professional setting. So go back to your question for the interview. If it is on your neck, it would probably be a good idea for you to cover it up. If it is on your arm, wear a long sleeve shirt to the interview. I would not come to the interview with your tattoos out.
But if it's a face tat, I'm sorry.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
go ahead.
But
face tag,
Gucci
Mane.
Ice cream on the thing. Or back to what you were saying about cover up the tattoos. If they have I hate God on my neck and they got it covered up with a tattoo, but then should they reveal that to you?
Like me coming in the interview and say, hey, look at my tattoo.
No. I mean, like you're saying cover it up. But then if you hire that person, the next day they come to work and they got on the polo and they say, I hate God across my neck. I was like, hey, how did you slip through?
That's actually a really good point. I've had that happen more than once where people have had tattoos or like orange hair or something and they come to the interview looking fine. They have their hair tucked up or dyed or whatever. And then they show up on their first day of work, and I'm like, this is not what I hired. This is crap. You need to get out of here.
You feel bamboozled.
Yes. You know what? But I will say this much. I've had a good experience with one young lady. She actually told me, and when I called her to bring her in, she was like, well, I have a mohawk. So can I come to my interview?
Yeah, that was going to be my question. My next question was hair. I mean, we got the tattoo thing, but, you have people that wear their hair in a certain fashion for maybe religious reasons or cultural reasons. And I know in the past that's been a problem with getting jobs for some people. So you think that's kind of starting to loosen up a little bit too?
Well, 2 points. One, to get back to the Mohawk girl who told me that, my response to her was, no, do not come in here with a Mohawk. So you need to fix your hair before you get here. And I said, if we need to reschedule, that's fine. I said, but do not walk in here with a Mohawk. So that was that. But as far as religious accommodations is the word I want to use, there's actually legislation that actually protects that type of stuff. Okay. So if you have a religious reason that you have the long hair, that you have the head covering, if you have a religious reason to wear it, then those types of accommodations can possibly be made. So what that's something you need to discuss with your employer.
What about the cultural? Does the cultural do cultural reasons fall under that same umbrella?
I
can see the religious reasons, but say they're from a certain country or they're just, like I said, from a certain culture that has like maybe dreadlocks or braids or whatever.
Well, to answer that question, it's all in professional appearance.
Right.
So, I mean, to your point about the dreadlocks, people can wear dreadlocks, but you need to make sure that they're professionally put up, they're clean, they're presentable. You know, don't let them flow and yes, Keith. Yes, that's fine. But you don't want them dirty and filthy and, you know, in all the different colors. Especially, keep in mind, again, you are in a professional setting and you are representing your employer. So therefore, you want to present yourself accordingly.
So you said there's laws. So if I came in and said, I represent the God of boss, you know, that's my religion. You know, I got laws that support that.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Not made up laws.
Thank you. Nor made up religions.
Well, you know, some people want to pull that out. You know, they're going to go to court. I'm calling my lawyer.
Okay, but I don't think the God of boss
Right. Church of Fine.
Well, and the other thing to remember is I can't not hire you because you have religious issues, but I cannot hire you because you're an idiot. So,
I like that.
Good.
Yeah, okay.
Amen to that.
There you go.
Appreciate the honesty.
Absolutely.
I do.
This is the hood point.
That's right.
Exactly. Check your name.
I got a question real quick.
Sure.
Okay, there is a lot of crazy religions out there. So, I mean, maybe the God of Boss could become a religion, and you would have to hire these people.
No.
you don't have to hire someone because they're a certain religion. You just can't not hire them because they're a religion. Like, my reason for not hiring you can't be because you're of a certain religion.
Right.
But if there are legitimate reasons why I'm not going to hire you that have nothing to do with religion, then I don't have to hire you.
Even if they played a religion card afterwards, like, well, she didn't hire me because I'm with the God of boss, and I think that I should have got that job.
Well, be prepared to explain why you felt like we didn't hire you. Because you were
and all of
under
us
that
good HR professionals will have plenty of good notes and reasons why we didn't hire you that have nothing to do with why you may think you didn't get hired.
They have your files.
They got better papers on you than your PO.
Speaking of PO, let's lead to my next question. A couple weeks back, I seen on Facebook someone posted a list of employers and companies that will hire people that have felonies. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of companies that will. Is it more of a company won't hire you at all if you have a felony, or if you have to if you disclose it, you're being honest? I mean, that's something I know. There's people. I have a lot of friends that have felonies for various reasons, and they always talk about, I can't get no job because I got a felony or something like that. So if someone does have a felony, what should they do?
First of all, you want to be honest. You want to definitely read the question on the application. Most of the questions say, have you ever been convicted of a crime, misdemeanor, or felony? So if that is the case, you want to be honest and you want to say yes. Because the one thing you don't want to happen is you say no and then it shows up and then it's 15, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then your response to me is, well, it was so long ago and I thought it was gone. But again, the question was, have you ever? Mm-hmm. So you definitely want to be honest.
And the other thing to keep in mind is there are some industries that you just can't work with certain felonies. Correct. For example, in healthcare, you can't work with certain felonies, childcare, those types of things. So sometimes it's beyond your control. If you've been convicted of those felonies, unfortunately, there are just some things you're not going to be able to do.
And most employers, if that is the case, they'll actually list that on the application. Mm-hmm. So you won't be blindsided by that. Especially in long-term care, in the application, we list those felonies that would make you unhireable. So be honest. It's the what to take away from that whole thing is be honest.
Now, I got a question.
Sure.
When it comes to firing people, is it standard to make people work all day and fire them? Or do you is it on Friday is the best day, Monday is the best day? I mean, unless it's an instant, we got to let you go today. I mean, is there like a HR format for that?
I'm gonna let Kristen answer that question.
Firing people is my specialty.
We got the Terminator.
Quite honestly, whenever I'm firing someone, it really has nothing to do with you or your schedule. I look at my calendar, and when I have time to fire you, that's when I'm firing you. So if it's 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, you're in and out the door. If it's 5 o'clock on Friday, it is what it is.
Yes, boss.
I would have to agree with that.
I am a busy woman. I do not have time to worry about your schedule.
Exactly, because apparently you didn't have time to worry about your schedule when you messed up.
Right.
So
Fired is fired.
Yeah, I agree. I don't have to wait for Friday. I don't have to wait for when it's convenient for you. When
Even on their day off?
my investigation is done. If it's on my day off and you're working, then I may come in to have a discussion with you. So once my investigation is done and all of my documentation is complete, I need to talk to you.
We don't like
Now,
discussions.
having said that, I will sometimes try and work it out so that people aren't being walked out of the building in like the busiest moment of the day. That's a little embarrassing. We try and
no
let
perp
you go
walks?
with some dignity, but
No purple
I've
walks.
been through that.
The perp walk.
Being let go carrying boxes out on lunchtime. Eric, where you going? Home.
Yep, I've been there. Been there.
It's like the Green Mile.
Right. Dead man walking. Dead man walking.
Need a legal pad to cover your face up with the perp walk.
I'll be back. No, you won't.
No, you won't. I'll see you later. No, you won't.
And everybody knows that walk.
I did have a woman tell me one time when I fired her, "You can't do that." And I looked at her and I said, "I can, and I am."
Oh wow, I heard those
Get
exact words.
Oh my God.
I've heard those.
I need to
exact
hire
words.
these two to fire some people here. Can you? What's your rate right now?
That's fabulous.
We'll discuss it after the interview.
Awesome.
After the show.
Wow.
And I'm their manager now.
Now I got a question. What would be the key turn on and turn offs during the interview process?
During the process or during the interview period?
During the interview period.
Okay, I'll take this one. So, couple things. One, answer my question. So if I ask you a question, don't dance around it. Don't take forever to get to it. Just answer my question. Sit up in your seat. Look me in the eye. Have some life to you. Because I have actually met with people who have absolutely no life, no personality, and they're just sitting there, and then they get upset when they don't get a call because they'll call me back and be like, "Oh, what happened? Well, I went with someone else," and they want to know why. Well, so definitely answer my question during the interview. Sit up in your seat. The other thing is when you're coming to an interview, dress is very, very important. So you want to dress professionally. Absolutely. So do not come to the interview in jeans. I strongly suggest you do not do that. Yes, Keith, you have the mic to your mouth.
That's a major fail when you come in jeans.
I would not come in jeans. I would just dress professional when you're coming to the interview. And the last thing is when the interview is... Spence. The other thing is when you're getting ready to leave out of the interview, make sure that you stand up and you actually reach your hand out and shake the employer's hand on your way out. And one of the other last questions before you get up and walk out and you shake their hand, ask for a business card because you want to do a thank you letter. Regardless if the interview went well or not, you still want to at least send them a thank you card. So make sure you get their contact information.
Now, also heard if the interview kind of goes long, that means that the person is kind of a favorable candidate. And then if it's like a real quick, short 5 minutes, they're basically major fail, like no.
Not always true.
Not always true?
Not always true. Because, I mean, it could be just like back to Kristen's point with the scheduling. I mean, I could have something on my schedule. And so I just left out of a meeting and I got 15 minutes to talk to you before I have to rush off to my next meeting. So, I mean, it could go either way. My manager could have already prepped me and said, hey, this person is good. They've already met with 6 people. I just need you to give them my blessing. So that's probably why I only met with you 5 minutes. I gave you the once over and we're done. Or it could have been, it was an epic fail. So I wouldn't say that's a determining factor, but whatever you do, if you do get 5 minutes, you better give it the best 5 minutes of your life when you're in there.
Yeah, that was going to be my support for his question was, have you had instances where like somebody came in and you knew almost immediately, this is the person, I don't really need to waste too much time with this person. I already know I like this person. I'm going to really recommend that they be hired and in and out.
I can't say that I have. I don't know. If
No, I don't think
I can't say that it's happened to me.
Okay.
It's no love at first sight in HR, huh?
No, I still would need to talk to you. I mean, there are still some questions I need to ask you to make sure. So even though in that 5 minutes, I'm still going to ask you about, how did you hear about the position? Tell me about your experience. And I'm still going to ask you relative questions. And even if it's that I do have that 5 minutes to go on further, I may say to you, hey, I only have 10, 15 minutes. I'll call you later on today and we can finish our interview, or are you open to coming back? I mean, it could be anything. So.
On the other side, then, so have you had many experiences of having long interviews that just you're almost trying to get the person to, it's like, okay, look, I'm handing you what you need to do, and they're just not getting it, and it just seems to go too long?
I've definitely had long interviews where you're kind of rooting for the person, and they just can't give you what you want, you know? So, and sometimes you're just trying to give them every opportunity to sell themselves. I mean, like when I interview, I'm not looking for reasons to not hire you. Like, I want to see something in you that makes me want to hire you. Correct. So sometimes I'll take a little bit extra time with people to see if maybe, like, especially if they're very nervous and I can tell that they're nervous, I want to sit with them and work it through it to try and get them out of that, to maybe see if there's something there that they're not able to show me right away.
I got one question. Have you ever had like a resume that you looked at and you go, oh my God, this person's phenomenal, and then they come in and it's like they're a complete dud?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yes, and that's rather disappointing because, I mean, you've taken the time to create this resume. I've taken the time to actually review it, call you, put you on my schedule, and then you walk in the door and, like you said, you're a complete dud. So, total waste of my time.
Which actually brings up a really good point. When you are making your resumes, you want to sell yourself and you want to make your resume as possible as possible, as positive as possible, but do not lie on your resume.
Yes.
Do not lie on your resume. Let me say it again.
Do not
lie on your resume. I actually...
Say it one more time. So we shouldn't lie is what you're saying.
I actually got a resume. I don't know if I should tell this story or not.
Tell it.
I got a resume the other day.
Who the person is, but you know.
Yeah, I got a resume the other day for someone that actually worked for me. I don't think he realized that he was sending a resume to somebody that he has previously worked for. And everything in his job duties under what he did under me was a lie. I mean, I'm like this. So how can I trust that anything else on your resume is true when everything that I know is a lie? Wow. So don't lie on your resume.
So, and to that point too, know what you've written on your resume. So if someone calls you and does a phone interview, it's always a very good idea to have your resume in front of you, because I will probably ask you questions from your resume, because this is what I know of you. And if you have absolutely no clue that you wrote that on your resume, then not good, not good. So have your resume in front of you.
That's frowned upon.
How long do you want a prospective employer to basically go back on a resume as far as work experience?
You mean how many years of experience you should put on your resume?
Years, yes.
My opinion, solely my opinion, your last 3 jobs is enough, depending on how long you were at those employers. Because if it shows that you're a job hopper, be prepared to explain that, because employers will ask, why were you here 6 months? Why were you here 9 months? So be prepared to answer those questions.
Now I have a question. And I think just about every interview you go on, there's always the one last question that you all ask, and it's, why would you be an asset to this company? Or why should I hire you? What is the best response to give? Because I heard someone say, don't say because I'm a hard worker. Well, everybody should be a hard worker. So how should someone answer that question?
I don't actually ask that question, so I'm not sure.
The question I will typically ask is, why should we choose you?
Okay.
I'll ask that question.
Yeah.
You know, why should we choose you? So with that, you will want to remember what you're interviewing for. If you can go back to some of the questions you answered during the interview, and pull those back to and make it positive for you and how you are going to be an asset for that employer, then I think that's how you grab that. That's how you answer that question as of why, of all the people that I've interviewed, why should I choose you? So what's going to make you stand out? So
going back to the resume thing, with the way the internet is now, as opposed to how it was maybe about 10 years ago, how important is it to have like a hard copy of your resume with everybody going to places like monster.com and posting their resumes online? And do you normally accept paper copies nowadays, or do you just kind of go through those websites or the HR websites you may have to find these resumes?
You mean when you're applying in the first place? It kind of depends on the company, to be honest. Like where I'm at right now, if you were to walk in and hand me a paper copy of your resume, I would absolutely take it, look at it, and consider you exactly the same as I would from somebody that I pulled off the internet. However, where I previously worked, they only accepted applications via their internet site. So it really depends on the company. It doesn't hurt to try and drop off a paper resume if you want to do that. And if they don't take it, just follow up and go back and apply online.
Okay. Like, do you guys use like social media like as a reference? Like, do you go to people's Facebooks and be like, hey, such and such, and they're post?
I mean, I have heard of people that being a determining whether they're fired. People fired because of Facebook post or deciding to hire. I mean, I've heard that.
It's generally
illegal,
frowned upon.
Okay.
I don't do it. I think that only bad things can come of it.
Right.
But some places do it.
And one thing to keep in mind is what you put out there will be out there. So let me say this. As far as what you put on Facebook, an employer can't say, David, give me what's your name on Facebook. I can't say that to you because I want to go out and look at your Facebook page. I can't do that. Now, can I go to your LinkedIn page if it's public? Absolutely. And most employers will do that. So if you do have a LinkedIn page, you want to make sure that it is professional, which that's pretty much what that site is for anyway. But you want to make sure that it's up to date and it is professional. So bottom line is, again, there is legislation that does protect that kind of stuff, that employers should not, and I use the word should not, actually go out and look at your Facebook page. But you do want to be mindful of what you're putting out there because it is out there.
For a job, huh?
So what you saying? You're safe, Dave.